Okay, hello everyone. This is Sharonda, and this is my YouTube channel, Magic Mind Minium. The spiritual subject that I'm going to speak about today is birth order. Birth order, life path numbers, life themes, and simulation. So I want to start off by saying that this YouTube channel is for entertainment, informational, and sometimes educational purposes. It just depends on which podcast or what episode you may listen to. So you can go on podcastle.com to listen to podcasts. I do a daily tarot and oracle message on there. I started doing this on last, I want to say Thursday. That's Podcastle. And I think it's a very cool tool to use. You can podcast on there as well as do video content as well. That is on Podcastle. Podcastle. All right. So it's giving me some issues in order regarding recording and getting my voice out. You will find a lot of people really don't want to hear your opinion, but they want to give you their opinion, which is something I find to be very strange. So what is birth order? I'm not going to go into all of that detail because I have recorded this and it did not get recorded somehow, or at least I'm not able to find it. It didn't upload. So basically, to sum it all up, I think that the birth order, the order in which you were born, has a lot of influence on behavior and things of that nature. Okay, so me being a firstborn person, as a matter of fact, I still got the information pulled up here, so it won't hurt to just briefly go over this information. I was too impatient to wait for the upload to where when I just began to click off, it did not upload. So I'm having to redo the video. So those who are firstborns typically get more attention from their parents, being that the parents are new parents, as it has mentioned here, who are usually rule-oriented, strict, cautious, and sometimes neurotic is what it has mentioned here. Me being oldest child, I'm the oldest child. I'm a firstborn child. Firstborn children are often described as leaders, high achieving, or even sometimes overachievers. They're structured, organized, responsible, and mature. That's what it has mentioned here. I'm not going to go into all of that detailed information. So middle child tend to be the peacemaker, as it mentions. They are described as independent peacemakers, people pleasers, outgoing, adaptable, attention seeking, jealous, competitive, and insecure is what it has mentioned here. Have you ever heard of the term of middle child syndrome? So they're often described as the negative effects of a middle child. They sometimes are overlooked. They may engage in people-pleasing behaviors as adults, which garner attention and favors in their lives, is what it has mentioned here. So I do believe your birth order has a lot. And bear with me while I get my hair situated. Okay. I do feel as though your birth order has a lot to do with how you are in the world and how you may view the world or see the world. Now it has last child here. Last child, if you're the quote baby, because of being busy, oftentimes the last child is raised by a parent on a laissez-faire approach to parenting, meaning a little bit lackadaisy. I've already done this type of thing. Lastborn children are sometimes described as outgoing, fun-loving, charming, free-spirited, immature, manipulative, self-centered, dependent, risk-taking. They tend to be outgoing, sociable, and charming. is what it has mentions here. I do feel as though this has a lot of influence on how we view the world and how we are in interpersonal relationships. So we're going to go into only child. So to be an only child, oftentimes are unique that they never have to share their parents' attention and resources with the sibling. So it goes on to mention that only children, only childs are mature, diligent, thoughtful, perfectionistic, high achieving, imaginative, self reliant, and sensitive. So, again, I do believe that your birth order has a lot of influence on you as a person in society. I'm actually going to bookmark this as well because when I begin to do um, my readings for those out there who may be into readings and may want to get a reading, this right here will give you some sensibility as to how you respond to life, how you respond to relationships, jobs, commitments, and things of that nature. So you will begin to see a commonality amongst certain individuals or personality types, if that makes sense to anybody. All right. The next one I'm going to speak about subject for the spiritual subject is life path. So what is a life path number? So I did my life path. My life path is 8. Life paths are essentially is a part of numerology where you take the numbers that are important to your life because you came in under a zodiac sign, but you was assigned a specific number, and that number will give some indication about what energy space brought you around. And once you have been in this life for long enough time, you'll begin to see that life is like a stage or a theme, and whatever theme has been chosen for you is the point. All right. So in order for you to find out your life path, you would take your date of birth and you will write it out numerically. So say for instance, if your birthday is October the 22nd, 1980, you will go 10/22/1980. You're going to reduce that month, 1 plus 0, which will give you 1. You reduce the date, 22, which is a master number. But you will leave that number because it is a master number at 22. You will reduce the year, 1980. You will do 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 0, which essentially is 1 plus 8 plus 9. Well, when you put all these numbers together, it comes out to 1 plus 22 plus 9 equals 32. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So your life path number will be 5. And I am on numerology.com, so you can more than welcome to come on here and just do your life path. You'll be very surprised as the accuracy, I do apologize, of these numbers. So me being a life path 8, I'm not going to read what my life path will be, but I think you'll be amazed at the accuracy of this number, the life path number. So the next thing I'm going to go into is life themes. What are life themes? I think life themes is similarly to a life path. A life theme is I think you have influence on things that happens in this life, like the life that you may want to live, or if you are put in some unfavorable circumstances. I do feel as though astronomically there could be a whole influence, if that makes sense to anybody. So say for instance, if you're on a life path of of wanting to be a superstar, reach for the stars, or what have you. Well, I do feel as though if you that's your desire and the powers that may be see to it that you are that, then more than likely you can be as that or similarly too. I do feel as though it can work in an unfavorable sense of the matter because I do believe that some people in this life experience have a life theme that has been chosen for them. That's what I feel in the unsense of the matter. So in situations such as that, I think by way of generational curses, a life theme can be chosen for you, which is unfavorable. So it takes being able to recognize the problem and how to go about remedying the problem in terms of life themes. I think coming together and being of support of one another can help to break that curse, if that makes sense to anybody. So I think we all choose a path in this life experience. Some choose one versus the next. But that's how life truly works. I think because of energy, this is how astrology come into place in terms of our zodiac sign. That if you take note of commonality within this life experience, you will know what fruit will bear out of this energy space, if that makes sense to anybody. All right, so we're going to go in, we're going to do the simulation. This is actually what I'm going to entitle this spiritual subject for today. So, what is the simulation? Well, I'm going to quote a quote by William Shakespeare. And what does that quote mentions? Oh gosh, I didn't get to look it up. It's something about the world as a stage or something. I said it's the same similar thing. I did. And you'll begin to see that in energy and spaces where someone has the same characteristic or a common likeness to those who are in history. Sometimes they may say the same similar words verbatim. Get it written down and hidden somewhere. Because you do have mockery where people will come behind and change it and just to go, yeah, he did say that. No. I think the biblical text work is such as that as well, to give you a synopsis as to who is actually channeling versus somebody just running them off, right? Because by way of spirit, it will let you know when it's coming from God. So I think the biblical text works essentially in that way to give you a synopsis as to, wait a minute, this is not no make-believe. Like, this is not nothing that somebody just made up. No, this is somehow spirit. Like, this person couldn't have known that. This person wouldn't have known that. Now, we all will presumptively say some things similarly, but to say it verbatim. So I think that's what basically the Bible is, or the biblical text, is to give you a synopsis about energy and spirits and how you will see a commonality amongst those who feel a certain or think a certain way and perhaps potentially would do a certain thing, if that makes sense to anybody. By way of simulation, so what is simulation? Simulation is an imitative representation of a process or system that could exist in the real world. In this broad sense, simulation can often be used interchangeably with model. Sometimes a clear distinction between the two terms is made, in which simulations require the use of models. The model represents the key characteristics or behaviors of the selected system or process, whereas the simulation represents the evolution of the model over time. Another way to distinguish between the terms is to determine simulation as experimentation with the help of a model. This definition includes time-independent simulation. So I'm going to go on to tell you that simulation essentially is a reenactment of previous life things, life experiences, as well as reincarnation. So it is essentially like a form of reincarnation. I think by way of role play, acting, movie production, even is similarly to that. Once the eyes has been honed, you'll understand, you'll know truth from not. And if you are someone such as myself who are not so quick to believe everything that presents to me, and if I am in a state of confusion where I don't know something, he's going to put people in part to where I will gain that insight of truth versus not. So that is the simulation. It would happen by way of spirit, if that makes sense to anybody. Because as I mentioned, this life experience for some of us is like a fiasco or circus, right? Or the Twilight Zone even. So to bring things down and slow it down, because that doesn't make any sense. Something don't seem right. God will put certain people in motion to where you would gain that insight and that understanding. It's being done under His guidance, right? So that's essentially what that is. Particularly when you do not trust, when there's a lack of trust or there seems to be a lot of confusion. Somebody thinks one way versus how you feel and think. Somebody have life wrong versus how you have life. Somebody has been afforded a certain life theme versus the next person, and they have been encased in their reality to where they honestly believe the illusionary delusion. That's what I'm getting at. So basically, with that being said, the simulation is such as that, where God will give you that sensibility when someone thinks in a certain way. I think just to touch bases a little bit about the Nephilim, I was watching some documentaries over the last 2 days about these so-called giants and mega giants that occurred some time ago in history. Well, I do feel as though the simulation or imitation cover up some things that may transpire in history that we don't want to open up that Pandora's box, if that makes sense. So say, for instance, we have graphic design people, special effects people who work in movie production, and we watch movies and we think, oh, okay, this is just for entertainment purposes. But what you don't realize is some of these things actually occur. So are we going to, because we don't want to exude mass hysteria or cause fear amongst the masses, you have certain energies in graphic design, special effects even, that will cover up some things that actually took place in history. So that's what I think the simulation is. The simulation is like an imitation to something to cover up some things that happened in history. The Nephilims being one of those. I saw where it mentioned about some bones that was even over 10, 12 foot tall. Now, do you believe that once upon a time that there was people that was way, way taller than that lived in this existence, this life experience? Well, put it this way. I do believe at one point in time in history, people possibly was 10 foot tall. Maybe even 12 foot tall. Do I believe they was 20 foot tall? Now, I do understand that you have statues that are that big, right? And it could have been a situation where God was telling on the thoughts of these individuals. Like, this is how they thought. They thought of themselves as gods. They was inflated in their capability and understanding. And as one think, you will manifest itself really, because it's to show how one thinks, if that makes sense. So it's real, but we don't want to give that power. We don't want to pay attention to that because that's not favorable. That's not sensible to have people walk around 12, 10, 12 foot tall either. So basically it's to tell on how a person thinks or how one view oneself. I do believe some things manifested supernaturally, inexplicably, paranormally, to show as one thinks. I do. And I do feel as though we do have that capability of allowing that energy to intercede back into our space. We do. And that's where the need for psychology or even reverse psychology to minimize that capability, because that would not be favorable. So I am going to conclude this episode speaking on the simulation, birth order, life paths, and life themes. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you're more than welcome to comment below. Now, I am going to also let you in on my spiritual subject that I have for next week that I'm going to speak about, and that is soul ties, strongholds. So do you believe in strong ties? Do you believe in strong ties and strongholds? So I was prompted to speak on this topic and update this topic a few days ago, actually. And it spoke to me, speak on this topic because this is what you're experiencing. This mediumship that you're picking up on is a soul tie. What exactly is a soul tie? So I'm going to let you in on basically a soul tie is when you have had some type of sexual relations with someone, and how they imprints can be left with you, if that makes sense. Now, it can manifest itself into the physical, and I get into all of that on next week. So we're going to speak about soul ties, strongholds. I'm going to touch bases on sex demons such as Lilith, succubus, incubus, as such. So that will be on next Sunday, speaking about soul ties. If you have, again, any questions, comments, or suggestions, you're more than welcome to comment below. Now, for those who may want a reading, I am available for readings, and you can send me an email. I'm going to provide you my email. It is Sharon for Christ. That's SHARON, the number 4 Christ at Outlook.com. To get a tarot card reading. I think the whole sensibility regarding tarot, you'll be very surprised how God does things in sync and line. I think the whole message is in how, by way of synchronicity, the tarot cards gives a message, and you'll begin to see life as such as well. Because it's a spiritual communication tool, is what it is. So it's not me. I'm just a vessel, right? I'm just a vessel. So, I even mentioned before that I could just hold up the card. You let me know what comes to mind when I get these cards. I will write that down, and then in turn, I will interpret it for you. I think it takes getting a couple of tarot decks to gain that understanding as to how tarot cards work, how God works, synchronicity, and things of that nature. And if you pay attention to life happens in patterns, life happens in cycles, life happens in sync. It does. It does. And so tarot card is no different. You know, I have the Ouija board here. Give it just a moment. I bought this board and it's really for cosmetic aesthetics purposes, right? Because the planchette that comes with it really does not is not conducive to like moving about and getting a message. But what is conducive is, as I mentioned before previously, how this planchette somehow would move in certain directions. Like if you just sit down and pay attention, and when the children would get curious, and then they'll get it and drop it somewhere, and it's like, okay, yeah, okay, let me go ahead and check this, or maybe I need to focus my attention towards that. So that's basically what that is. And like I said, look at this. This does not have, the planchette does not have the little, you know how you have the little stands that comes on it? Okay. It doesn't have that on here. It says as above, so below. So when I get prompted in a certain direction, somehow even me, like when you begin to work in the spiritual sense, I'm going to explain to you how it works. When you begin to work in the spiritual sense, you can get in a trance-like state to where you will put things in certain places that because you're gone. I mean, you hear, but you know. And then when you come back, it's like, okay, he'll give you revelation about that. So that's basically how it works. It's to pay attention to the spelling of things and what direction. So basically, the Ouija is a guide to make things apparent to you about feng shui, architecture, the design of certain things. That's basically what it is. It's a guide to give you a synopsis about something you may not even fathom. They're coming about with certain towns, locations, even. That's basically what that is. All right. So I have the crystal ball, which has like this, what is this? The solar system or the galaxy in it, or what have you. A crystal ball to be able to see things right. So these are aesthetics. These are props. And life works as that. It's a lot of, like I was telling my son yesterday, a lot of propaganda and hype. Just break it down, just simplify it. And I'm going to tell you basically what a lot of that is. Okay? So in turn, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Again, I do have the Patreon. If you go on patreon.com, I have the 3 tiers there. You can also send me an email. Again, Sharon, it's a JRON for Christ at outlook.com. And I guess the sensibility is if you are curious about tarot cards, it's going to give you a synopsis about synchronicity and how things will work in suit. So basically what I would do in these readings is I will be, number one, the only thing I would need to get is your date of birth, and that's to determine your life path number, as well as your zodiac. Are you an air sign? Are you a water sign? Are you an earth sign? Are you a fire sign? These things would give me a sensibility as to what energy spaces brought you into the world and what would perpetuate you into the paranormal to get a tarot card, right? Um, and in turn, you let me know. As I mentioned, I got the 3 tiers. So let's go over the 3 tiers. Let's go over the 3 tiers of memberships that I have here on Patreon. And again, this is for entertainment purposes. All right, so let's proceed. Okay, so if you're wanting to do a love, past life, or chakra reading, all right, let's go. Let's go back. Let's go back to the home. All right, so let's go to my memberships. And again, that is patreon.com/spiritual sense. The name of the Patreon is Magic Mind Medium. All right, let's see. All right, let's go to memberships. Okay. So we have, I'm trying to make this video at least 30 minutes, and I just hit over 30 minutes. All right, so there's 3 tiers to the membership. Now, you get one, for $5 a month, you get one reading. It could be a love, past life, or chakra energy reading. And let me edit this because I'm going to say chakra energy cleansing reading. Just a moment. All righty. Love, you get one reading per month. Okay. So it says the title is too long. All righty. Let's go down. All right. Again, the title is too long, so that's why I had it at what I had it at. All right. So. All right, so let's go back to my memberships. Okay, you get one per month. That is either a love, a past life, or a chakra energy cleansing reading. That's at $5 a month, and you get one per month. The next tier I have is the astrological elemental reading. You get, and that's $10 a month. You get one per week. And that's basically your zodiac sign reading. You get one per week at $10 per month. All right, the next tier that I have is $10 a month as well. That is a 3, 6, or 10 card reading. And you get one per month, and that's at $10 per month. All right. Now, so I do have my podcast, which is integrated into my Patreon that is on Acast as well. And you can just listen in on my readings or what have you. I refer to them as tarot, spiritual readings, well, however you want to, oracle messages, what have you, oracle cards. All right, so let me go ahead and upload my today's. I'm trying to see how long of a recording I have here, so bear with me just a moment. I did this morning. All right. Okay. So again, stay tuned. Stay tuned for tomorrow's daily tarot oracle card via podcast. And then on Tuesday, I will proceed with the light and dark reading because I have since moved that from Sundays to Tuesday.